podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.
Now entering the PNRNetworks arena, coming down the aisle from Revere, Massachusetts, weighing in at absolutely none of your business. It's the Mistress of Mayhem, the Queen of Quips. It's time for Ring Around the Rosie with your hostess, Kim Brown.
Hey everybody, welcome to another week here on Ring Around the Rosie. I am your hostess, Kim Brown, aka Platinum Rose Lady, coming to you on Wednesday, September 4th, 2019. Oh my gosh, it's September, which means it's almost fall, which means that hopefully the warm, humid, sticky, disgusting weather will go away, because I hate it. I'm just not a summer person. I'm not a spring-summer person. I'm a fall-winter person. I don't like to sweat. I don't like bugs, and I hate humidity. So, yike. I'm just glad it's getting closer to fall. Somebody actually told me at work that they're bringing back pumpkin spice at Dunkin' Donuts. I'm like, yeah, it's definitely getting close to fall. I know probably that phrase made some people turn cartwheels. I don't drink coffee, so I don't really get the whole pumpkin spice allure. I don't get it. So I hope everybody who had the day off was able to celebrate Labor Day and have a great day. Obviously, the huge, enormous thing that we're going to spend the majority of the show talking about today is the AEW All Out pay-per-view this past weekend from Chicago. That was on the 31st of August at the Sears Center Arena. Actually, it was in Hoffman Estates, Illinois, which is apparently a Chicago suburb, so there's that. Obviously, going to talk about that. Awesome show. Going to get into that in detail in just one moment. Want to bring up something that happened with the WWE in the fact that they actually pulled the trigger and did what a lot of people have been saying that they want for a while in turning Bayley heel. Yeah, that's great, WWE. Somebody who had this enormous amount of fans that were mostly young people and, children and stuff like that. You turn them heel. Fucking brilliant. Anyway, alright, moving forward. We're over here now and talking about AEW All Out. I was lucky enough to be able to get this pay-per-view. We weren't sure we were going to be able to get it, but we wound up being able to actually figure out how to get it on our cable with the, I say we, and it's not actually we, it's my husband, because he's the one that figures this stuff out, because he's smarter than I am when it comes to that kind of stuff. I keep saying he's the technology person in our relationship. He's the technology person and I'm the cute one. So, that's how it works. So, the opening of the show, we had the buy-in, which was the pre-show stuff, which included a women's casino battle royale, which was like the men's casino battle royale from the last pay-per-view. Also, unfortunately, no naked Daniel Craig. Gosh darn it. My letter to Santa must have got lost. And the point of this was whoever won this battle royal would get a match either against the winner of the Riho versus Hikaru Shida match for the AWE Women's Championship, which is going to be on the inaugural AEW show, which is on TNT on October 2nd. So, going through everybody who was part of the Battle Royale, and I'm probably going to get, they're not in the order they should be, so I'm sorry. It was like I mentioned, it was like the whole card suits from the last, pay-per-view, which I still don't quite get the whole rules thing during a pay-per-view. It's just odd. I just find it odd. So, we had Shalandra Royal, Leva Bates, Fabi Apache, Priscilla Kelly, Nyla Rose, Penelope Ford, Shazza McKenzie, Sadie Gibbs, Big Swole, Dr. Britt Baker, who is really a dentist. We've been through this before. Seriously, for a dentist, you think she'd come down to the ring with like a shit ton of sharp things. I mean, dentists have all kinds of little sharpy, pokey, stabby things. You think she'd bring those as added weaponry, but no. Tennille Dashwood, Evilise, who used to be Emma, B. Priestley, Brandy Rhodes, Awesome Kong, Allie, Nicole Savoy, Teal Piper, ODB, Jazz, and the Joker, who was Mercedes Martinez. Completely insane battle royal. We missed the first few minutes of it because we had to get the computer hooked up right. Okay. Point of fact to the person in the middle of the ring that decides to strike a pose where they're doing the splits and doing the whole I'm so cute look with their hands up to their head. Don't do that. Because when that happens, someone kicks you in the fucking head. And while that made me laugh like a supervillain, I am kind of sick, and at least I acknowledge it. I might be ill, but at least I acknowledge I'm ill. Nyla Rose is a fucking force of nature. And I mean that in the nicest possible way, because she is an amazing individual and also very scary and could probably break my back. So, big props to her. Britt Baker, oh my gosh, outside the ring went absolutely crazy on B. Priestley and just like huge fight out there. I don't understand why Awesome Kong is acting as Brandy Rhodes' bodyguard or whatever. I don't know. I just, I don't get it. This was my first time seeing Teal Piper, and I have to admit, I thought she was really impressive, and I really wish her nothing but the best in her career. I can't even picture being the daughter of a legend, an icon like Roddy Piper, and deciding to go into wrestling. I mean, she, like I said, I thought she did a really great job, but I mean, talk about big shoes to fill, but I think she can actually do it. I have to be completely honest, seeing ODB I was like, wait, what? When did she leave TNA? What? Okay. Hi, ODB. I was like, all right. Jazz? I knew Jazz was going to be part of the Battle Royal, but my whole thing was, she's bald now, shaved her head, and I was like, okay, it's, very, very Dora Milaje, very, the bodyguards for Black Panther, that whole thing for the Black Panther. I'm like, I liked it. I thought it was a cool look. I really dig it. The winner, could there be any doubt it was going to be Nyla Rose? Come on. I mean, good grief. She is an amazing person, and she is a person who deserves respect and not the scorn and the general fuckery and assholery of certain people online who have been very disrespectful and discourteous to her, and you know who you are. You're fucking assholes. Quit it. So, Nyla won the Battle Royal, so she will face whoever wins the match between Riho and Hikaru Shida. They will face each other on October 2nd for the AEW Women's World Championship, and that match will come up later on in the show. Also, as part of the pre-show was the private party, Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn going against Angelico and Jack Evans, who don't have a name as a team, and I'm like, fine, just don't have a name. Fuck you too. Other than the people who got dressed in the dark, I guess. I don't know. Because those outfits, actually you could see those outfits in the dark. It was like, okay, wow, you guys can be seen from space. That is a lot of color on those outfits. Woo! The private party wound up winning that match. After the match was over, Angelico and Jack Evans turned on the party and beat the crap out of them. And the crowd starts yelling party poopers, which I have to be honest, that's clever. I was like, okay, that's clever. I mean, it's not she's a crack whore, but, you know, we're not going to get chants like that anymore, people. We all know it. We got a promo for somebody named Wardlow. Okay, very kind of Terminator-esque promo where he's walking with a lady and they wind up being accosted by some punks, and Wardlow beats the holy living frog snot out of them one at a time because they all attack him at once instead of swarming him like, you know, what happened in real life. But, you know, they're doing the whole thing like they do in every single martial arts movie where somebody is attacked and the people that they're attacked by a group of people, but the people who are attacking them fight one at a time, so they all get their ass kicked individually. So Wardlow, whoever he is apparently a badass. So there's that. And now we're at the actual start of the actual show. We have an interview with MJF. Yay! I'm like, oh, we're starting off on a great foot. Jim Ross came out to join the announcing team. The announcing team for this show were Golden Boy, Excalibur, and now Jim Ross, which is awesome. I have to say that there seemed to be a lot less lost moments in this as opposed to the previous pay-per-view. There weren't as many moments where you felt like, does anybody really, what did that mean? You know, kind of moments. So we're actually starting the show. And we had a performance by Musicality, which is a singing group, performing the national anthem, and that was really, really nice. And seeing people in the crowd standing there paying attention and people with their hands on their hearts, and that's obviously very cool. I don't know how I feel about people singing along with the national anthem. I mean, I get it, and I think it's nice, but I've always been like, just stand there and be quiet. You can be quiet for 5 seconds. So we begin the show with a 6-man tag team match with the team of SoCal Uncensored, Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky, going against my favorite people in this entire federation, and I will fight you on that. Jurassic Express, the team of Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Marco Stunt. Oh my gosh, I love this team. I love these guys. I just completely... This match was completely mental. It was awesome. I was like, if this is the way the show is going to go, oh man, I'm just completely like, this match is amazing. I would like to specifically, I mean, I could talk about Jungle Boy for hours, and most of it would probably be beeped, but, cause it would be dirty, but, moving forward, we're over here now, because besides being an amazing wrestler and doing some incredibly sick off the top rope moves and stuff like that, oh my gosh, is he hot. He is crazy, stupid, surface of the sun hot. I would like to bring up that Luchasaurus is insane. I mean, and I mean that in the nicest possible way, and I should know. Watching a man that large and muscular launch himself over the top rope so he can clobber everybody in SoCal Uncensored and possibly take out the first 5 rows. I'm sitting there going, where's the holy shit chance? Why aren't people yelling holy shits or this is awesome or whatever? And Marco Stunt, oh my gosh. Oh, good grief. Marco Stunt is going to hate me for this, but he's adorable for one thing. He's just adorable. And he is also as completely insane as the rest of them. This match was absolutely over the top nuts. What a way to kick off the show. The winners were SCU, which I was like, okay, that after Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian did the best Meltzer driver ever on Jungle Boy and on Marco Stunt to get the pin. After the match, we actually got to see what it's like for people who are classy, unlike Angelico and Jack Evans, when SoCal Uncensored, you know, gave props and you know, held up the hands of Jurassic Express, and I thought that was really, really cool and nice. And I'm just glad Christopher Daniels isn't dressing like Magneto anymore, because Yes, Chris, some of us remember that. Actually, he actually didn't make a bad Magneto, to be honest with you. I'm just glad this year he didn't come out dressed as Thanos, because I would have fucking lost my shit. The next match was Kenny Omega. It was supposed to be Kenny Omega going against Jon Moxley. Unfortunately, Jon Moxley was not able to make it because he has a MRSA infection, I think is what they call it. I don't know. It's serious shit. And he wasn't cleared to wrestle, so that obviously sucks. And so they brought in Pac to go against Kenny Omega. Pac is referred to as the bastard through most of the announcers keep bringing it up. It's on his logo, his Chiron stuff. I'm like, why does his paternity matter? I don't get it. I know, I'm a dork. I know, I'm a complete dork. It was cool to see Pac again. Those of us who remember him as Neville and all that stuff like that. I still say if anybody ever decides to do a D&D movie right, he'd make a terrific elf or a drow. He'd make a really good drow, to be honest with you. This match was so fucking intense. These guys put on a clinic. It was just a complete clinic. Kenny Omega wound up tasting defeat after Pac locked in the brutalizer, which is a form of a sleeper hold. At first I was kind of like, what is he? Oh, okay, I get it now. And the referee wound up having to stop the match because Kenny was out. And the crowd went ballistic. Oh, they were not happy with this little turn of events at all. But Pac winds up with the win. Next up was something that I was like, I don't know what this means, but I'm deeply, deeply concerned and more than a little scared. Earlier in the month, not much earlier, on the 27th of August, the restaurant and store, I guess it's a restaurant and a store because they do sell stuff, Cracker Barrel announced that they were going to be the title sponsor for a match during the pay-per-view. Which I was like, okay, that's nice. I just completely was like, I don't get it. I'm really not, what? Cracker Barrel. Okay. I've eaten at Cracker Barrel like twice. Or maybe once, possibly twice, my entire life. And they're a nice little place. I mean, I was completely like, I don't get it. Why? But here we are. So we have the Cracker Barrel Clash. Try and say that 10 times fast. And this was a 3-way dance between Joey Janela, Darby Allin, and Jimmy Havoc. So you knew this was going to be fucking lunacy. And as you ask for, so you do receive. Because these three guys are completely out of their fucking minds. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. Okay, this is bitchy. I admit this is bitchy, but between the three of these guys and their outfits and their hair and all their stuff, somewhere in Chicago there's a very happy Hot Topic, because they're probably just bought all their stuff there. I don't know. This is one of the most completely fucking insane things I have ever seen in my life. Jimmy Havoc, who once again has the staple gun, because of course he does, brandishes the staple gun, because why not, and then proceeds to staple himself in the arms a few times. And the crowd starts chanting, "You sick fuck." Thank you, Captain Obvious. You've saved the day yet again. Seriously though, good on your crowd. I'm sorry. Well, at least he didn't go after where he went after with Tommy Dreamer, because that just would have been really wrong. we get a spot that I was like, guys, this isn't that kind of a show. I realize they have other kinds of pay-per-view where you see stuff like this, but this ain't that kind of show. Jimmy Havoc gets duct taped to a chair. Insert other pay-per-view jokes there, by, Joey and Darby. And so they've duct taped him to the chair, and now come out the thumbtacks. They put the thumbtacks, they shove a bunch of thumbtacks, a fucking handful of thumbtacks, and I wish I was making this up, but even my imagination isn't that crazy. Take a bunch of thumbtacks, shove them into Jimmy Havoc's mouth. Why am I laughing at this? And tape his mouth shut, because why the fuck not? Is it wrong that I actually... no, I'm not going to admit to anything during this. I plead the fifth. I plead the fucking fifth. Oh boy. There was a point... Eventually he got free and spit the thumbtacks out, and it was at people, because of course... I'm severely, severely hoping he didn't swallow one, because that just would have been terrible. Because I don't know how strong your stomach acid is, but I'm pretty sure it's not strong enough to dissolve thumbtacks. I don't know. I don't want to find out. You know, at one point, Janela nearly kills Darby Allin with a move off of the apron. We get a tennis racket involved. I'm wondering if that was a dig on Jim Cornette, who, as we all know, anyone who's listened to Jim Cornette for more than 2 seconds knows Jim's dislike of hardcore matches and all that kind of stuff. Paper cuts. We get hardcore paper cuts during this match against Joey Janela, between Janela's fingers and in between his lips. I'm like, oh my gosh, Jimmy Havoc, you're a fucking monster. You are a fucking sadist, sir. Where have you been all my life? No, I'm just kidding. Kinda kidding. Oh boy. And then Jimmy Havoc at one point actually picks up, because there's a tray of biscuits, actual biscuits. And I don't mean cookies, I mean actual biscuits. So I don't want to confuse any of our British listeners, assuming I have any British listeners. So because Cracker Barrel, that's one of the things they're known for, down home cooking and all that kind of jazz. And, I'm sorry. I really don't know why I'm laughing. I'm really concerned about myself right now. Jimmy Havoc takes this tray of biscuits and blasts Joey Janela with them. And all I can think is all I can hear while this is going on, and there's biscuits flying everywhere, all I can hear is my mom's voice going, "Children starving in China, and they're throwing food around." Hi, Mom. Who, if she's not embarrassed enough by me by now, we get a skateboard during the match, because why not? A skateboard with thumbtacks on it. Again, why not? Fuck it. The rules are just completely burning somewhere in a corner. And of course, now, I don't know how many of you guys know what the term Chekhov's gun means. This is a new one to me. I actually learned it about a year ago, reading one of the things online. Chekhov's gun. A Chekhov's gun is when you have something in a scene, in a movie or a play or something like that, and it's not focused on, but the audience knows it's there. Chekhov's gun means that at some point, it's going to wind up being used as an important thing in the play or the movie that you're watching. So apparently in this we had Chekhov's barrel, because we had barrels out there that were just out there advertising for a Cracker Barrel, which wound up getting used, of course, in the match, including a point where Darby Allin tried a suicide fall with a barrel that had been placed on top of Jimmy Havoc, who was on the steel steps. But of course, guess what happened next? Jimmy moved, and of course, since you can't freeze time when you're falling, Darby Allin crashed through the barrel and then crashed into the steel steps, because of course he did. The end of the match, which thankfully didn't involve a chainsaw, or, you know, a Rottweiler or something like that, only probably because they couldn't get one down to the ring. The end of the match involved Jimmy Havoc, performing one of his finishers, the Acid Rainmaker, through the other barrel, so pour one out for both barrels onto Joey Janela for the win of this match. So the winner of this is Jimmy Havoc, and thank whichever deity that you pray to that this is over. Oh my gosh. I mean, it was awesome, but it was definitely one of those, oh man, I'm watching this through my fingers match, like, oh my gosh, I can't look, I'm totally looking, I can't look, you know, it was like, oh my gosh, this is insane and awesome. The following match was a tag team match with the Best Friends, Chuck Taylor, or Sexy Chucky T, and Trent Beretta, going against the Dark Order, Evil Uno and Stu Grayson. The Dark Order. Really? 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 I'm sorry, like I said before, why don't y'all just call yourselves Evil McBad Guys and get it over with? This was a match that was going to be held, the winner getting a first round bye into the World Tag Team Championship tournament for AEW. Now the thing is, Evil Uno and Stu Grayson do not come out to the ring by themselves. They come out to the ring with their group of, I don't know what they are, associates, slaves, indentured servants, serfs, I don't know. They're referred to as creepers by the announcing, team. I was calling them minions, and then my husband went, hey. He was completely not pleased with me calling them minions, because that's insulting the Minions, and my husband is an enormous fan of the Minions from Despicable Me. I had actually sacrificed my dignity by walking up to a clerk at a McDonald's one time and saying, could I have one of the Happy Meal Minions, please? It's not for me, it's for my guy. He collects them. So I have been told to cease and desist calling them minions. So I don't like calling them creepers though. I don't know why I don't like that, other than it sounds like something out of Scooby-Doo. I'm just gonna call them those guys. Fuck it, I don't care. This is one of those, I don't know what the hell is... I don't get the whole thing with their guys, the Dark Orders, because I'm sorry, the way they treat their followers or whatever, I can't tell who's more offended. The people that, practice like anybody who practices a BDSM lifestyle would be more offended by these guys than they would be by 50 Shades of Grey, and that's saying something. It was a good match though. I mean, it was a good match, but unfortunately it wasn't a great match for the Best Friends, because they wound up not winning. There was a fatality, which is the name of Uno and Grayson's finisher, because that's not a ripoff of Mortal Kombat, which was done on Trent Beretta to get the pinfall. After the match was done, the Dark Order and their group of creepy dudes started beating the hell out of the Best Friends, and then all of a sudden the lights went out, and of course the lights go out and everybody starts trying to grab their camera on their phone and try and see what the hell's going on. The lights go out, the lights come back, and who is in the ring? Orange Cassidy, that ball of enthusiasm and fire that he is, and he did a Tope suicida. Can you do a tope suicida through the ropes? Not over the ropes? Whatever. With his hands still in his pockets, which I will admit impressed the living fucking shit out of me. I mean, seriously, I have to give this guy so much props for his gimmick and how he does it, and I do have to wonder exactly how much horse tranquilizer he takes before he goes out to the ring. Kidding. That's a joke. But he is now apparently aligned with the best friends, and there was this big hug between Chuck and Trent hugged Cassidy, and thus 7 kabillion fanfics were born online. You could almost hear the fingers breaking as they jumped on the keys for people writing /fic. I didn't say I was doing that, just one. I do have some fic out there if you'd like to read it, fanfiction.net. Look up Platinum Rose Lady, you'll find my stuff. Let's hear it for blatant plugs in the middle of the show. Hooray! The ladies' match was up next to determine who was going to be Nyla Rose's opponent at the inaugural show in October. So we had the match between Hikaru Shida and Riho, which, I mean, do I have to say this was fucking amazing? I mean, come on. Let's all know that it was going to be fucking awesome. Rio wound up winning with a roll-up over Hikaru Shida. And Nyla Rose came out and kind of, stared Riho down. Riho didn't seem too very worried, to be perfectly honest. This match is going to rock. It's going to be so insane. Next up was Cody going against Shawn Spears. Now, this has become deeply, deeply personal. Because Cody and Shawn were friends. They started off, in Ohio Valley together, and things went really wrong from there, and it's, so on and so forth. This got weird. I have to say this got weird, because, Shawn Spears has Tully Blanchard in his corner, which is fine, I guess. Shawn, I would like to know what the hell happened to Shawn, because Shawn looks like he was bit by a walker and has turned. Seriously, I'm like, Shawn, have you joined the Legions of the Undead? What happened? And we have Cody with his wife Brandy and their dog, and Diamond Dallas Page, and their dog's name is Pharaoh, by the way. I apologize, should mention Pharaoh's name. And Diamond Dallas Page and MJF, who is staying at ringside. He wound up staying for the match. Just him. What the hell? I don't get it. Because we see Brandy backstage, and she's walking to the ring with Pharaoh, and she is dressed as 7 of 9. The only character from Star Trek Voyager that everybody remembers. Don't lie. Don't shake your head. You know it's true. Then Diamond Dallas Page follows her, and he's got a Starfleet uniform on. MJF is with them, and I finally noticed that once he takes the scarf off, he also has a Star Trek uniform on as well. The ones where the color is up on the top, just on the top. And when Cody rises up through the elevator, under the ramp, I should say, he's also got a captain's, it's a command, colors on with short sleeves, which I was like, all right. Yes, I remember all this stuff because I'm a geek. Yay. I was a little worried. I shouldn't say that. I was extremely worried for Pharaoh because when the fireworks and everything went off, Pharaoh obviously was more than a little upset. Which is, that a lot of dogs don't like fireworks and loud noises and stuff like that. You wouldn't either if you had a dog's hearing. But Brandy was very careful with him, and he was taken to the back as quickly as possible, so, because he definitely didn't want to come out from the, out further into the crowd and stuff like that, where the crowd could see him and such, but I think that was definitely not something that, it was one of those things, unfortunate things. I'm sure Cody and Brandy, who are obviously good doggy parents, wouldn't want Pharaoh to be hurt in any way, and he's okay, which is obviously the one thing that I'm totally worried about because I love doggies. And so, as I mentioned, MJF is the one that is going to remain at ringside during this match, apparently to counteract Tully Blanchard because reasons. Okay. This is the little soul-bearing moment here. One of my more unattractive qualities is that I hold grudges for a long time, if I have to. At one point during the match, Tully Blanchard interfered and Cody punched him right in the face, and I screamed, "That was for Magnum TA, you son of a bitch!" And my husband is looking at me like, what the fuck is the matter with you? You know, and sorry, some of us remember a lot. I mean, I gotta be perfectly honest. If they had brought Magnum out to counter Tully, I would have lost my fucking mind. As far as I know, Magnum's doing well out there. I hope you're doing well, Magnum. You were an important, huge part of me as a younger wrestling fan, and I wish things had been different because you were just awesome. I hope you're doing well. I thought it was really cool because at one point Cody winds up high-fiving a young fan, and I was like, that's nice. I thought that was sweet. When shit started to go really wrong, because this was nasty. This was like Alien Autopsy ugly. This match because you could definitely feel a lot of personal animosity and great storytelling going on between Cody and Sean. At one point, you know, the heels are totally in control. Tully's completely interfering like crazy. MJF's been like laid out for a second. And who comes down to the ring? Arn Anderson. I was like, what the actual fuck? And he wound up beating up on Sean Spears, which at first I was like, Arn, if you take one fucking step in that, oh no, you're helping Cody. Okay, never mind. It's good to see Arn again. It's been a long time. At one point, I thought Cody was gonna get blasted with a chair by MJF. I was like, he's gonna turn on him. He's gonna totally turn on him. But Cody wound up winning after performing a crossroads and getting a pinfall on Sean Spears. And, Cody and MJF had a hug after the match, and there was still no turn. I was like, okay, I gotta be honest, this confused me. This confused me all over the damn place. I mean, it was a good match. It was entertaining. Told a great story. Thankfully, thankfully someone wasn't bleeding buckets of blood like the last match Cody had on a pay-per-view. Hi, Dustin. But I was a little confused. I have to admit that. AEW seems to be a little fluid when it comes to the whole face heel tweener thing, which is fine. You know, they're still getting their feet and stuff like that, and I get it, and that's cool. I'm just like, I'm sorry, isn't MJF a heel, but he's face now? Is Cody a heel? I don't get it. I'm confused. I'm lost. Somebody hold me. But it was a great match. It was fucking nuts. Now we get to the match that I was like, I was definitely looking forward to Chris Jericho going against Hangman Adam Page, but this was the match, I gotta be perfectly honest, this was the match I was like, this is going to be amazing. And we had the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon Jr. and Rey Fenix defending their AAA World Tag Team Championship belts against Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks, in an Escalera de la Muerte match. If I have that translated correctly, that means ladder of death, I think. I hope. My Spanish is terrible, I'm sorry. It was a ladder match, and there were a shit ton of ladders. This was completely insane. At one point, I don't remember who yelled it, but somebody yelled, "Puta!" And I was like, language! It's my one Captain America impression. Like I said, this match was completely, you know how at a lot of Ring of Honor shows there, a couple of years ago, there was a lot of people that would, especially at Paul London. Paul, if you're out there, please go to AEW because you're awesome and you should be on TV and you're handsome and I'd like to see you on TV because you're hot. I know, I'm shallow. They used to chant, "Please don't die." I don't understand how a "Please don't die" chant didn't happen during this match. I would have actually got a chant going, how are you alive? Because there were a couple of times that both Matt and Nick Jackson, I was like, they are going to kill themselves. Not to say Pentagon Jr. and Ray Phoenix didn't also put in a lot of effort to make it seem like they were about 2 seconds away from death. Because they did, because I was sitting there watching this. I haven't watched a match in a long time that almost made me throw up. And not from, like, being, like, turned off or nauseated by the blood, because that actually never happens. I should probably look into my psyche about that. But anyway, there were points in this match I was so stressed and freaked out, I almost puked. Also, at one point, Matt pulled off Pentagon's mask, and I was like, dude, not cool! And the crowd let him have it. I mean, the boos were shaking the building. He managed to get it back, so I'm assuming that was not supposed to happen. I don't know. And since it wasn't a anything versus mask match anyway, so I was like, wait, I completely was like, oh my gosh, he pulled his mask off. And the crowd went absolutely batshit insane. There were so many points in this match, I was like, he's dead. That's it. He's dead. But thankfully nobody died. But it was just complete and utter insanity. We had the winners of the match were Pentagon Jr. and Ray Phoenix after performing a Fear Factor double springboard double foot stomp combo, because that's not easy, because I can say that. Onto Matt Jackson, and then Pentagon and Phoenix climbed the ladders to get the belts down and to keep their belts. Unfortunately, they didn't have much of a chance to celebrate because two guys in masks showed up and beat the living crap out of everybody. Both the Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks. As it turned out, the guys who were wearing a Bill Clinton and JFK mask, as it turned out, they pulled the masks off, revealing the two former members of the Latin American Exchange, Santana and Ortiz. Okay. I am not pleased. I am less than pleased. Which, knowing where I am from, as I know I've mentioned in the past, being from the great and glorious state of Massachusetts, anybody, tossing shade on the Kennedys, we don't really appreciate that. And we remember stuff like that. Just saying. The main event was Chris Jericho going against Hangman Adam Page, with them going against each other for the AEW World Championship. Whoever wins this is going to be their first world champion. Adam Page came to ringside on a horse. Because why not? Don't know what else to say about that, really. Of course, it also did put something into my head, that song, Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy. Have I mentioned Adam Page is hot? Anyway, thankfully he didn't ride the horse directly to the ring, because I think they didn't want to. They obviously, with the whole thing that happened with Pharaoh earlier, they were much more, careful this time. Fireworks and horses really don't go together very well. It was a very pretty horse, though. And going against Chris Jericho, And I have to say, I really like Jericho's jacket. I really like that jacket a lot. The thing that made me exceedingly happy and just, I was so happy, was seeing Aubrey Edwards, who was the referee for this match, the first female referee in AEW, hopefully not the last, and also somebody that Chris Jericho learned during the match, you don't fucking get in the referee's face, even if she is a woman. Don't stick your finger in her face, because she'll get right up in your face and tell you to go fuck yourself. And it was cool. It was so awesome. We had dueling crowd chants. We had people chanting for Jericho. We had people chanting for Paige. My opinion about stuff like that, just put a couple of fans in the ring, let them slug it out. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Mob violence is bad, okay? This match got bloody, which really isn't a big surprise, in anybody's, nobody really should have been surprised that this match got bloody or anything like that. It wasn't like Dustin Rhodes, the pay-per-view before, but it got bloody. Dustin, seriously, I hope you're okay, bro. Not for nothing, kid, but you scared the hell out of me. At one point, one of the announcers brought up something about the cockles of Page. They're talking about Adam Page and referring to the cockles of his soul. Is that like the windmill in your mind or something like that? I don't get it. I don't, you can't say cock in a, if it's the other kind of pay-per-view, you could, I suppose. But anyway, not that I would know about pay-per-views like that. I'm a good Catholic girl. I don't watch things like that. Like I said, this was complete. Oh man. You had pinfall attempt after pinfall attempt, almost through the whole thing. Finally having Jericho get the Judas effect locked on Adam Page, and Jericho gets the pin, wins the belt, and is now the AEW World Champion. So he has won the WCW belt, the WWE Championship, the World Heavyweight Championship in WWE, and now the AEW World Championship. And that is completely and utterly mental. When you think about the fact that, and I'm not saying this in a negative way or anything like that, I definitely don't want anybody to take this that way. Chris Jericho has done all those things, and he is 48 years old. I mean, that's definitely not saying that someone who's 48 is, too old for wrestling or anything like that, but it's nuts when you think about it, and it's so impressive. I really thought it was funny that during the being the elite show that they've put up, it kind of, they had stuff on before the pay-per-view and after the pay-per-view, and from the look of it, during the pay-per-view. We see Jericho backstage with the belt almost immediately after the match and stuff like that, and Chris Jericho shattering the whole, Canadians are so polite stereotype. Thanks for that. I mean, everybody says Canadians are so polite and apologetic, and there's Chris Jericho being a, 14 karat gold double dipped asshole, so there's that. So that was the pay-per-view, which was awesome, and which I am very glad to report I give a very, very, very solid A to. I had the best time watching this pay-per-view. It was fucking insane, and I loved it. The next pay-per-view for AEW will be on November 9th, 2019, the AEW Full Gear pay-per-view, which is coming from Baltimore, Maryland at the Royal Farms Arena. Obviously, before that, AEW will be debuting on TNT in October, which will be super exciting. And we also had some more excitement that happened after the pay-per-view. 2 days after, to be honest with you. 2 days after the pay-per-view, the belt was stolen. Chris Jericho had left the belt in his limousine, and he was he was eating at a restaurant in Tallahassee, Florida, I guess. And somewhere between the airport and the him getting out of the restaurant, that belt was stolen. Apparently, from what I've understood, the driver went back to the airport, and I don't know what happened after that, but so this is for serious. This is not a joke. I don't know what in the world somebody is thinking to do this. Seriously, person, whomever, I bring it back. Really, they're not fucking around about this. And as far as I know, this is, when the cops get involved, shit gets serious. So somebody obviously, somebody made a really bad life choice at a certain point in time. And I mean, I don't know what to say. It's completely crazy to think that somebody would do something like that, but somebody apparently did, and hopefully they'll get the belt back. It's complete madness. Okay, guys, just a real quick cut in. I'd already recorded my show and just went around and started checking some other websites. According to PW Insider Elite, the AEW belt was found. It was turned into the Tallahassee police earlier today. Someone who said they found it in its case on the side of the road. So apparently the belt has been found, and I'm assuming will be given back to Chris Jericho. So crisis averted, I guess. I don't know what the heck happened. Honestly, I don't. But apparently all is right with the world, and the belt is back where it should be, at least until Adam Page gets it off of Chris Jericho for real. So that is going to wrap things up for my show. I hope you enjoyed it, and I would like your opinion on it. I'd like your opinion on the pay-per-view, what you thought of it, do you still buy the whole thing that the WWE is pushing, that, they're not worried about AEW, blah, blah, blah. I'd love to know. PlatinumRoselle@yahoo.com. You can also like, share, subscribe my show, recommend it to your friends, and please check out the other shows that are part of our show, and all of the shows that we do, and there's a lot of them, and we also have other people that are involved, and they have shows that are part of our little island of misfit toys, so I hope you'll check them out as well. And so I am going to be signing off here for this week, and I will be back next week and talk about some more wrestling stuff. So this is Kim Brown signing off for another week here on Ring Around the Rosie, and have a great rest of your week.
You have been listening to Ring Around the Rosie with Kim Brown, a production of PNRNetworks. Keep in touch with all things about the show at http://ringaroundtherosie.net. Ring Around the Rosie intro performed by Eric Lyon. Ring Around the Rosie theme by Digital Juice. Join Kim for a new Ring Around the Rosie every Wednesday. Ring Around the Rosie is copyright 2018 PNRNetworks, Boston, Massachusetts, USA.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.